Hello and welcome to the Psychic Activist podcast. I am your host, Natty Beats. I am an author, a psychic development and expert and activator, a master healer, a trance channel, loads of other stuff. I am leery and a little bit sweary, and I teach spirituality without the bullshit. So today is no exception. With this podcast, I seek to put information out there that is not filtered. It's some of the stuff that's a bit deeper than I talk about on my social media. It's a lot of the stuff that wouldn't get through the normal gatekeepers of, book writing and mainstream media. But I put out the unfiltered stuff because it's what really needs to be talked about. So today, I'm having a little peep at my pad. We're talking about entities and attachments and psychic attack. This is a subject that I get asked about so much. Any of you who follow me on my TikTok will know that I put out very powerful 10-minute entity and attachment removals. These often get like 50 to 100,000 views with hundreds of comments on them of people saying, oh my God, I felt something being removed, or I was yawning, I was burping, I could feel tingles. So they're potent little fuckers. And I think it's really, really important that we put these things out there and we understand that everyone needs entity and attachment removals, and I'll explain why. So having entities and attachments like cords and hooks and all of these things is not something that's scary. I don't want to scare anyone by saying this, but trust me when I say we are all fucking riddled with them. This is what makes up the density within us, within our soul, that prevents us from fully activating and accessing essentially the God within, right? So my personal method of doing psychic development, psychic activating, which really should be everyone's method if they're actually getting results, is clearing the density, helping people clear the density to bring more light in to activate their abilities, right? So if you imagine that you are walking around, I'm just getting a great visual now. If you imagine that you are walking around with a massive coat made of worms, this is kind of a visual representation of what is going on. Now, this coat full of worms is very, very, very heavy. And if you tried to fly, not only would you not be able to get your wings out because it's all down the back of you, but it would be too heavy for you to lift off the ground. Now, what happens when you go through psychic awakening, when you do entity and attachment removals, is it starts to pick off the worms on the surface. You can only ever reach the worms on the surface, and you can only ever clear one layer at a time. So a lot of people say to me, why do you constantly have to do these clearings? I've already done loads of clearings. Surely I'm done. Yeah, spoiler alert, we're never done. So we can remove the first layer of worms. That makes us a little more lighter. We might be able to get our wings out a little bit. We might even be able to lift off the floor a little bit. And then we need to integrate that removal of worms. So we integrate that healing, and then we go and remove the next layer. Each time a layer of worms cleared, it just shows up the layer of worms underneath. So when we're experiencing these entities and attachments coming to the surface, which we all are, anyone who's going through ascension at the moment, it's like having a massive beam of light shined on all the darkness in your body. So then the darkness in your body becomes visible, it becomes tangible, rises to the surface, and that's when you start to feel it. So a lot of people in the world at the moment are losing their shit. They are having intrusive thought patterns, they're depressed, they're anxious, they are running around trapped in negative cycles, karmic behaviors, and generally not having a very good time. Now, I'm not saying that entities and attachments is the be all and end all. There is a lot of different healing modalities out there, and often things need to be felt before they can be removed and cleared. But equally, there is a lot of people walking around with entities and attachments that are literally running and ruining their life, and they're not even conscious of it. So let me give a couple of examples of things that could be going on. For example, let's say that you are someone who has suffered with stomach problems for the last 6-7 years. You've been through every doctor, you've been through every diet plan, and absolutely nothing is working. You come and see someone like myself, or a shamanic healer, or a psychic healer, and they see that there is a hook with a cord in your stomach that has come from a past relationship that ended 5 or 6 years ago, or even from a past life. We ask this to be cleared, takes a few seconds, it's removed, you never have stomachache again. Like, oh wow, that's amazing. These are the kind of things that my clients experience in my one-to-one sessions all the time. So this is not an exaggeration. We could also have something where someone keeps repeating a very toxic pattern in their life, and even though they've had loads of healing and loads of therapy and read loads of books, they cannot stop repeating this toxic pattern, or even having this toxic stream of thought that seems to come back again and again and again, and it can make them feel like they're going insane because they're doing everything for it. But they didn't look in the astral realms, they didn't look in the astral on their body and see that actually this is an implant with a program attached from a past life or from a group of entities that put it in on purpose to prevent them from rising, that prevent them from going through ascension and awakening to their abilities and their sovereign self, pretty much like some sort of just little bug on their neck or something. And again, come and see a healer, figure out how to remove it. I go over this in my book, Upgrade from Within. I teach you how to remove entities and attachments yourself in the book. Remove it, and then suddenly, literally instantly, that thought pattern stops arising, and it's literally can be that dramatic. I've had it before. A couple of years ago, I remember a really extreme one where it wasn't even a couple of years ago, it must have been a year ago, because it was a year after I broke up with my ex. And suddenly, out of nowhere, after feeling fine for ages, I started having really bad spiraling thoughts, and I kept seeing his face in my head. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? I was like, I haven't been near him. There's been no new cords implanted. So I booked a session with my friend and mentor Wolfgang. And what had happened is, because I'm going through rapid ascension and layers just keep coming up, a layer had come up that had 13 ghosts, so 13 spirit attachments, had come up from my soul that were past lives that I shared with him, where this certain dynamic played out that I couldn't stop thinking about. I felt like I was going insane by the time I booked this session. We did the session, finished the session, my head was completely quiet. I went to sleep, there was no spiraling thoughts. He didn't pop up in my head again at all. I was like, oh, fucking hell, man. If people only knew the power of clearing these entities and attachments. Essentially, they're just aspects of you. So again, like, I don't want anyone to be scared and like, oh God, I need to go out and rah, rah. Like, anything that you've got attached to at the moment, it's likely it's been attached to you for hundreds, if not thousands of years going unnoticed. The only reason that you're feeling these things coming to the surface is because you're going through ascension, so it's actually a good sign. Something that happens when people experience these entities and stuff coming up to the surface, especially those of you who are more psychically tapped in, is they think and believe that they are under psychic attack. This terrifies them, puts them in a fear state, and then opens them up to more shit coming in from outside. So most of the time, when people approach me or they have a session with me and they think they're under psychic attack, they are not under psychic attack in the sense that no one's doing anything bad to you. There isn't a group of witches sitting there. I mean, that does sometimes happen, and we'll get onto that further along. But there isn't like entities or anything sending you shit. I would say 80-90% of the time, it is stuff coming up from past lives that for some reason has been uncovered or reactivated. Things can lay dormant as well for lifetimes and then get reactivated in this life. Say, for example, a wizard or a witch in a past life put a hex or a spell on you and it's laying dormant, and then you meet that person in this life and it reactivates it and starts wreaking havoc in your life. This is also ways that things can be embedded in that people don't realize, but people then think that they are under attack when actually it's just past life shit rearing its ugly head and it needs to be cleared. One thing that I would really urge you all to do is take the fear out of this shit. Look at it like a video game. I know it's not pleasant when you're having scary things happen to you. Trust me, I've experienced a hell of a lot of attachments doing the healing work that I have. I've had to experience attachments and psychic attack and attack from spirits in order for me to become better and better at my healing work, because I needed to experience those situations so I could find out how to resolve them, so my guides could channel me the answers, so I could feel them at a vibrational level so that I know how to recognize them in someone else. So if you're a healer, you're choosing to be a healer in this life, just be aware that you might experience more than other people. But yeah, I would really urge everyone to take the fear out of this shit, because if you put yourself in a fear state, maybe you can feel a lot of attachments on you or whatever, and you're determined that it's coming from some outside source. When you put yourself in that fear vibration, you literally start attracting yourself to things, bad things to you. I highly recommend, if you're already in an extreme fear state, step away from the spiritual element of it. All right, you can drive yourself insane doing constant entity and attachment clearings, but if the fear is still there, you could also be throwing up a hell of a lot of projections. Again, I've had this with clients where they're having clearing upon clearing upon clearing, and they're saying there's still things there. I'm still under attack. It's still there. Now I know that the clearings are working, not just from my personal sessions, but maybe sessions with Wolfgang or the online meditations. But what's happened is they've got themselves in such a fear state that they are projecting and calling things in. So projections, fear-based projections, can seem very real, and not only seem very real, when you are a very powerful human, which if you're listening to this, you probably are, you can literally manifest attachments and spirits. It's like your energy creates them, right? It literally creates the boogeyman that becomes a very real, tangible thing that then attacks your energy field, and it's something that you've called into being. The other thing that can happen when you're in fear state, like what happened to me last year, is you can cause things in your external reality. So I had a car crash. It wasn't a bad one, but I had 7 weeks of travel hell around Canada and America. And although Spirit was supporting me in one aspect, I was being really, really pushed through initiations by fire. It was a huge dark night of the soul, and it was like I was going through insane emotional endurance training. Everything in my outer reality kept going wrong to the point where I felt like I was under attack. Now, in that particular instance, there was a lot of things trying to get to me because of what I was doing in America, which I won't go into now. But what I was doing in America was pissing a lot of quote unquote dark side things off. So there was things trying to get to me, and my guides were doing a lot of redirecting to keep me out of harm's way. But in my physical reality, this looked like everything crashing down around me, constant travel plans going wrong. I was just in complete flight or flight. I can't say that. Fight or flight. So when I got back to England, because I was carrying this vibration so strong in my energy field, like someone would drop something and I would intake my breath and my heart would shoot up like someone shot a gun, like someone would drop a packet of crisps on the floor. That's how much I was on the edge. And then on the way back from the airport, a fucking car crashed into the back of me and my dad. And I messaged my psychic friend and said, I like, what the fuck is going on? I have a curse, like something must be happening. And she said, it's you, it's your fear vibration, because I'm such a powerful energy. You can see that by the clearings I'm able to facilitate and stuff. Your powerful energy works both ways. So if your energy is powerful enough to connect with and communicate with spirits, with ETs, with dragons, to facilitate huge healing in someone else, imagine what that energy can do when you turn it away from the light and put it on fear. Like, you can cause a fucking ruckus. So as much as you can, stay out of fear. Leave the spiritual stuff alone if you're deep in fear around it. I highly recommend doing EFT, which is emotional freedom technique, or emotional freedom tapping. You can go on YouTube and find these ones literally specifically for fear or for feeling happy. Do gentle meditations, not psychic meditations, gentle meditations. Just focus on getting yourself back to homeostasis, back to joy, back to love, all of those good feelings. And I pretty much guarantee all those fear-based projections, they're just going to fucking disappear. And when you get back to your center, you will know what is really attachments that need to be cleared, and what is your mind playing tricks on you, and what is your powerful energy manifesting things that is just making everything worse, pretty much. So there is a wider part to this entities and attachments that I actually channeled a article on a couple of days ago that I'll post at some point. Not only is ascension, going through ascension, and our bodies, our light bodies being constantly upgraded, we're having light pelted at us from the earth, from various portals around the earth, 1010 as I'm saying this, from all the angels, guides and divine light beings we're working with. If you have any sessions with me, I'm pelting you with light. Even listening to this podcast, you are receiving light codes from me, because everything I do, I'm an activator, light codes are just pelting out of me. So you're constantly receiving all of these upgrades and all of these activations. And again, what that is doing, it needs to clear space so that they can integrate. So it's chucking up all the dark. This is happening on a wider level on the planet right now. So you don't have to go far to have a conversation with someone or see a horrible newspaper headline or even look on social media to see that the world's losing its shit. There is some really fucking horrible stuff going on. There's some really nasty stuff coming to light. And honestly, it is the most positive thing that could ever fucking happen. Bear with me when I say this. I don't want to trigger anyone and I don't want to minimize anything, but all of this stuff has been going on behind the scenes for hundreds of fucking years, and it's been hidden. Now all of the light is coming in, all of the activations, the fucking ley lines are being cleared, the dragons are waking up, all of this stuff is happening. It's bubbling the dark up to the surface. So it's not that everyone suddenly turned into a pedo in Hollywood. It's always been there. We've just never been able to see it. It's not just that all of these horrible wars and genocides are suddenly happening. I mean, they're getting a lot worse around the earth. Again, it's the dark trying to pull back control because the light's fucking winning. Gutted, guys. But this has been going on for years and years and years and years. It just hasn't been in the media. It hasn't been in the forefront. So it's a good thing that now people are standing up and having this in their awareness, because if it's in our awareness, we can fucking do something about it. This podcast is called the Psychic Activist Podcast. Psychic activism is doing the unseen but very real and tangible work on a vibrational level, on an astral level that affects the wider world. So if there's a lot of things going on in the world that are upsetting you at the moment, just imagine it as the entities and attachments being shed from the earth, just like the entities and attachments are shed from you. Okay, so the earth is wearing a big old coat full of worms as well. And those worms are just coming up so that we can chop their heads off and clear them. And this is all work. I mean, I do a lot of collective work for all of this in my psychic activist group called the Purple Realm, which is a monthly group that I channel sessions in, and we go into literally the fabrics of reality to change reality in itself, not just for us, but on a collective level, because any work that you do yourself spirals out into the collective. So that was a little bit of a tangent that I went off on, but it obviously needed to be said. So I just want to cycle back to what I said about picking things up as a healer. Some of you who are healers, you will pick up entities and attachments no matter how much protection you put on. And I don't want you to think, oh God, I'm not protected, or get angry with your guides, or frustrated, or get imposter syndrome that you're not supposed to be doing this work. Often we get things through our protection because our guides are letting them in, because it's an important part of our learning process. Okay, so again, it's nothing scary. I've taken things off clients loads before. It doesn't happen very often now, if at all, but those first couple of years, oh my God, almost every time I did a session where something new came up, I would then have to go and book a session with one of my mentors to clear me because of the shit I'd taken off them, especially that first year. One of the biggest things that you can do to prevent unnecessary attachments is, as a healer, never take responsibility for someone else's healing. So what I mean by this is, if you're a healer and someone comes to you and says, can you do this? Can you remove this cord? Can you do this? Don't say yes. Say, let's have a look. I'll do my best. Let's get curious. Let's see what we can do. As soon as you say, oh, I can remove that from you, or I can heal you of that, that is taking responsibility for their healing. It's also really fucking toxic and a massive red flag. If I hear healers talking about how much they can remove something specific from someone, I'll send them to me, I'll just remove that, or I'll just heal that. I'll say, yeah, send them to me and we'll see what we can do. And I think I have yet to have a client come to me with things that we haven't been able to facilitate. But it's all a curiosity. You have to approach it with curiosity without taking any sort of responsibility, because as soon as you take responsibility, you just take it off them. I learned this the hard way when I had a 13-year-old client in 2020, a few months after all my abilities opened up, and she had really bad anxiety, and I could see this big mass of black energy in her chest. And I just went, oh, fuck that. She's 13. She's not having that. I'll just take it out. And I just pulled it out with my hand. Guess where it went? I had to go and get it bloody removed from me. I also had it before when I removed someone's backache and their sleep paralysis. I was a little bit intoxicated. You should not do any healing work if you have had alcohol or drugs. This was again a couple of years ago. He's moaning about his back. I was probably showing off a bit because I hadn't seen my mate for ages and I had all these new healing abilities. I was like, I'll just clear that for you. And then I ended up with this massive astral parasite on my back that scared the shit out of me because I didn't know what it was. But it was an important part of my journey because I'd never come across astral parasites before. and I had to sit and calmly channel how to remove them because it's not something I'd been taught. So again, it was something for my healing journey, but also in that instance, it probably could have been avoided by not doing healing when I'd had alcohol and whatever else I'd had that night. Yeah, so that's a little bit on being a healer. I'm just looking at my notes here. Okay, so I had a question on my Instagram from someone that wanted to know how you heal your body after you've had a demon attached to it for a very long time. So we'll go just in general, how to heal your body after you've had something attached for a very long time. First and foremost, if you are removing something big, or the healer that's removing something big from you, they should be asking straight away for all the effects to be reversed, for everything to be cleared in its entirety, and for there to be no holes. So if it's something big, they need to be filling that hole back in with angelic light. If it's in a chakra, you can call in Isis, goddess Isis, to bring in a light orb to place in the chakra, to be a surrogate for the energy, to heal the chakra while their energy is rebuilding. There's a lots of things that this is why I have taught my psychic surgery masterclass, so people know how to do this shit safely. But there is a lot of things that people need to do when they're removing attachments and entities so that you don't end up with any damage. Now, I say damage in a very loose term because nothing's permanent. But if you've had something attached to you for a very, very long time and you need to go in and heal it, the first thing I would do is meditate, do your ground, connect, protect. Again, that's in my book. And go into your body, feel into your body, radiate the light around your body and feel into any dark spots and see if where this thing was removed, you have a hole or maybe even a portal or a tear or a rip in your energy field, because that will be causing just as much issues as the implant attachment or demon itself. If you've had something where you've had ghosts or demons attached to you for a very, very long time, that has caused a lot of negative thought patterns, that you've had them sort of not whispering in your ear, that they don't always whisper in your ear, but they might bring up thoughts in you that you think are your own, having like ghosts, soul fragments, demons, entities. You might think they're your own thoughts, but they're really intrusive thoughts. Now, clearing them sometimes doesn't clear the thoughts because if you've had it for years, you're so used to following that thought pattern. I would recommend for that something like NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, booking a session in that. Again, EFT. So it's like now you've removed the thing that was causing the bad mental stuff. You work on the mental stuff. If it's something physical, if you removed something that was causing a cancer or a physical illness, because yes, physical illnesses are real, then you want to approach the physical illness. You can go to like someone who does herbal medicine, go to a doctor if that's your jam, but approach it purely from the body side. Like right now you've removed the spiritual thing, you need to heal the body. So I would, when you've had something attached for a long time, if you're still experiencing things afterwards, figure out where it is, figure out whether it's physical, whether it's mental, whether it's emotional, and then approach that as a standalone thing we've got millions of modalities at our fingertips, mostly on YouTube and everywhere else, but just kind of trying to isolate where it is and then working at it from there. Okay, let's talk about actual psychic attack. So all of the past life stuff, yes, it is psychic attack, but it's happening in a different timeline, so it's not as prominent. But I have had a lot of clients who have had things happen to them in this life, often people who come into their lives under the guise as a spiritual mentor or a spiritual teacher or a false like fucking guru that tries to get them into a sex cult, or they're not even aware that they're in any sort of dark spiritual organization. There's a lot of dark spiritual organizations and networks that people are in unconsciously, spiritual churches, loads of places. This is why I personally don't go to spiritual events, never been drawn to them. There is a fuckload of parasites. There is obviously some amazing lovely people there as well, but they're generally breeding grounds for that type of false light bullshit of energy stealing and tapping. Now there's a lot of networks, some that I've uncovered and helped bring to the light, whereby there'll be like a guru at the top. He'll be energy stealing from his people, and then they'll be energy stealing from their people, and it's literally like some horrible pyramid scheme of energy stealing. And if you have one of these people come into your life as a mentor, they might act like they're teaching you things for a time, but they're actually cording and plugging the fuck out of you and draining your energy, whether they are conscious of this or not. It's not always bad people doing this. Sometimes it's because they have entered into a soul contract with a guru or something above them that is then just stealing energy all the way down the chain. Oh, it gives me horrible, horrible tingles when I'm talking about this. Dragons, block that, please. Thank you. So this can happen. It can also be some people who used to be in a coven or used to hang out with witches or people they used to do magic and witchcraft with, that then they fell out, proper vibes of the craft, right? They fell out with them, and then the other two or the other one then starts consciously putting curses or spells on them. It's also quite common in other parts of the world that are not so close-minded as perhaps England and America, that it's just commonplace that people do voodoo, that people put curses on other people, and these are very real and need to be removed and cleared as well. You approach these the same as clearing stuff from past life. You just need to be aware that you need to put a lot more protection on, doing things like asking for the person in question to be brought up to the highest court of spiritual justice, dealt with in the light. You can ask for them to experience instant karma. You can ask to return everything to the sender. You can put like shields around you of Herkimer diamond and rainbow. You can call the dragons in to assist with all of this, but when you're dealing with something that's happened in this life that's been sent on purpose by someone else who's quite powerful, by the way, no one is more powerful than the guides and energies you have contact with. So don't ever believe that someone else has put something on you, and because you feel like they're more powerful than you, it doesn't fucking work like that. You have access to Archangel Michael, to Isis, to all of the dragons. All of these things are ready and waiting and willing. They just need your permission to help you. So no fucking human is more powerful than that. So please don't believe that you have something that you can't remove. There is no such thing as having something that can't be removed. In my opinion, you just, if it's something that is very new and unknown, most of my clients that come to me, we have some really weird shit that is weaved through timelines or is timeline shifting, so you can't pin it down in one timeline to remove it. And all I do is call in my guides and channel the exact words that need to be said, almost the exact spell or astral realm that needs to be created, or something that needs to be implemented in order to remove and clear it safely. So I completely hand up to them, and generally we can always find a solution. So please don't worry that any of this shit is permanent. Also, if there's someone sending you bad things, make sure to do a clearing of cords with them. There's a couple of good tools I can recommend on Steve Noble's YouTube. There is one that is bringing a personal relationship to the light. There is also removing an Agent Smith type attack. So sometimes it won't be other gurus and stuff working through them. It will be dark entities working through them that they might even be unaware of. And you need to clear it. It's like Agent Smith in the Matrix, right? It can be anyone. Sometimes the dark sends attack through people who are, quote unquote, not awake. And this is very, very common. I've had it myself. I've had someone who was a friend of 20 years shove her way into my mother's house, screaming and shouting at me that she thinks I have a brain tumor because of my psychic abilities. And she was, I mean, there was something in her that was not entirely her. I do think she has psychosis as well, so that's a separate thing, but it was something working through her, and it was fucking terrifying. I'm like, there's actually something coming into my house when I had concussion and fully attacking me. So these things do happen. Again, don't want to scare anyone with that. That's like the really, really extreme end. But all I did once I got her out of the house, as I went and did the Agent Smith meditation, I brought the relationship to the light. I cleared and revoked any permissions for her to have to my energy field, and I've never seen her again. Like, she's never come up and approached me again. I've seen her out of festivals, and yeah, she's never come up again. So just know that this stuff does work. Okay, so I've written down why spirits jump. So a lot of you listening to this will probably have experienced before spirits attaching themselves to you. Me and a friend used to joke that we would just go to the supermarket and end up coming out with more than beans. The supermarket is fucking riddled with spirits and weird energies. If you think about all of those metal tins, remember metal holds vibrational frequencies very well. Think about all those metal tins coming from different countries, coming from different places, going through so many hands to get to you, and then they're in a supermarket, which is essentially just a giant fish tank that you did. All of the people are in. I'm not a massive fan of supermarkets. They prang me out. It's always worth before you go in the supermarket, just Archangel Michael, protect me on all levels, please. Make sure that I don't pick anything up. I do not consent to any spirits jumping in me at this time. Often can be very, very simple, but just doing that one mindful thing before you go into supermarkets or crowded areas will stop you from picking things up. If you are someone who get a lot of spirits attached to you, it's likely because this is part of your path to help them ascend, maybe part of your path to be a medium. This is something that you can shut down. You can meditate, you can call in your gatekeeper guide and make sure that he keeps all spirits away from you. If you are someone who has already chosen to be on this path, like myself, at this stage, I go traveling. If there's spirits in an Airbnb and I don't ascend them as soon as I get there, I try and go to sleep and they're attacking me. It's not because they're trying to harm me or do anything wrong. It's because they want to go home. They know that I can take them home. They know that I can hear them, and they're just going to cause a ruckus. So I had a reading with a friend a few months ago because I was like, can't I just take a fucking weekend off? This is ridiculous. But it was like, a lot of people can just turn it off. But because I've come so far on my journey and I have agreed to many contracts and many paths, and I'm very grateful because my life is fucking amazing as a result of having all these abilities. It's kind of like, but you don't really get to pick and choose anymore how you use them. Now, having boundaries with your spirit guides is extremely important. And it's always important that you choose how you experience things, especially if you are fairly new to having your psychic abilities open up. I had razor sharp boundaries for years. I still have razor sharp boundaries, but I have to accept that sometimes I'm going to be called upon to do things that's going to feel a bit of an inconvenience, and I am just going to do them. I'm just going to help those spirits ascend, whatever, because the rewards that I am getting at this level from my dragons, from traveling the world, just from everywhere, way outweigh any of the inconvenience. So, and that's just my personal path. But yeah, if you're someone who gets spirits jump into you a lot, I recommend calling in your gatekeeper guide and just saying, I do not fucking consent to this, especially if things are waking you up in the night. I do not consent to anything waking me up in the night. Wait until the daytime, please. So yeah, just be really clear with your boundaries. Generally, they do listen. I'm a bit of an anomaly just because of where I'm at on my path and how much I have already agreed to give myself in service in this life, which I'm, again, happy to do because I love my life and I bloody love magic. A couple of things, so just to finish off with a couple of other things that you can do for psychic defense and protection. Again, I've got a lot of this in my book, Upgrade from Within, which is on Amazon. You can imagine a ball of energy being around you. If you're doing healing on other people, you can literally, before you touch them, if you're doing hands-on healing, you can imagine literally putting on a hazmat suit, putting on gloves, and stipulating that no energy, no negative energy or inappropriate energy passes between you. And that should stop you taking anything on, again, unless it's a huge part of your path to learn that. Putting a bubble of energy around you. You can imagine putting a bubble around you and then putting mirrors on the outside to reflect any dark energy out. You can do that if you go somewhere, you feel like there's a lot of dark energy, that's a really good one to do there. If you're going somewhere where there's a lot of people or a lot of energies, for example, like a spiritual fair or something like that, you can put a bubble of energy around you and then put camouflage on it, cloaking and camouflage. So this will keep you hidden. So where you go to like a spiritual event or a festival or something, or those mind body fairs, where again, there is a lot of amazing people, don't get me wrong, but there is also people who have very big energies who like to steal energy from the biggest light in the room. So by cloaking yourself and hiding yourself, they just won't see you. Any negative entities working through them won't see you, and you can go about your business buying crystals and joss sticks and pretty things. Something else for protection, I always call in Archangel Michael. Other big energies to call in, you can just call in your highest astral bodyguards when you meditate to protect you on all levels, especially if you're going into astral realms, especially if you're doing like shamanic journeying and stuff. You want to really amp up the protection before you go in, and keep asking your higher self and your guides, is there any other layers of protection I need before I go into this meditation safely, or before I do this healing session safely? So it's always good to refer to your guides. They know what you need. Sometimes it'll be something really specific. When I used to go on Clubhouse, I had to channel an Arcturian helmet. I had an Arcturian helmet that I had to put on when I went on Clubhouse to stop me getting any attachments or unwanted frequencies. I've had Merlin's cloak is a good one to call in. That's one that has come through for a group of clients before, asking to be covered in Merlin's cloak. You can ask for a blue light orb to surround you from the Syrians, so Syrian blue light technology surrounding you in an orb. You can ask for Archangel Michael's sword to be placed down your spine to prevent you from getting anything from behind. So these are all specific things that I've had come through channeled that you are more than welcome to take and run with, adapt as you need to. Okay, I think that is about it for today's podcast on entities and attachments and psychic attack. Those of you who are wanting to know more about this subject, week 2 of my 8-week psychic development course goes over entities and attachments so that you can remove them from yourself. And I also have an hour-long workshop that is a masterclass for any healers and psychics that want to add this as a tool to the rest of their healing practices and learn how to evolve it and everything. Yeah, you can find all of that on my website that's in the show notes, or by clicking the link in my bio on any of my social media. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Feel free to let me know if it resonated with you on my social media or via email. I love hearing from you guys. If anyone has any suggestions of future podcasts as well, or questions that you want to ask, I am fully open to receiving them. I hope that you are all coping with this eclipse portal well if you're listening to it at this time, and I'm sending you all love. See you in a couple of weeks.